All right, good morning, everyone. Sorry for the late start. Okay. S&P had a nice finish to the session last night. Early in the session, it kind of looked like we're gonna take another significant down day. We managed to really turn it in the middle of the day and kind of close up close to right at the highs of the day. I think it's a nice little bounce, recovering a little bit of what was lost the day before, but I think you're going to need to see follow through again today in order for us to really be able to hold on to gains going forward. Today will be very important in that regard. We've had some big whips around in the Japanese yen overnight. We dropped 100 overnight last night. I'd made the call that maybe you start to see a big risk unwind if we drop 100. Wasn't a very good call. Pretty much nothing happened. In fact, the S&P rallied on the back of that stronger yen when that had happened. So not a whole lot of attraction when that occurred, but still something I think to watch. That 100 level will be important to watch for risk going forward. All right, you can see there that those levels on the Japanese yen that we talked about, especially that 99 to 100 level, where you can see we wicked down, touched that 99 level. If you look at horizontal resistance right up here, you can see at $100, which is really where we end up holding as well. Important. I think it's also important to note that because of some of that bad data last night or weak data yesterday in the States, we saw commodities really kick up a little bit, precious metals. All on the back of Fed stimulus hopes that continue for a little bit longer. So I think we can maybe small plug that in at the moment. We had Adcock Ingram that was out with earnings this morning. Revenue was up 9% at $246 billion. The only expectations we have from that is from J.P. Morgan. Their expectations were for $2.6 billion, so that's a miss. Headline earnings per share down 5% at 1 Rand 88. Their estimates are for 1 Rand 86, so that's a small beat. And then dividend per share was 86 versus expected 92. So not the greatest numbers out of Adcock Ingram. Watch that one closely today if you trade it. We also have, yesterday we had a shooting incident again at Lawnman. In-Union official was gunned down at the union office. And then Glencore Extrado, which fired 1,000 miners after a strike. So we're going to continue to follow these wage negotiations as they go forward. All right, we had Australia out with current account balance overnight. We also had RBA cash target. They kept the interest rate the same because of how much ground the Aussie dollar had given up over the last few sessions. Current account balance was a slight beat. Then we have Spanish unemployment today. We've got PMI construction out of the UK. We've got business confidence here locally, and then we've got the trade balance out of the States later. All right, let's jump into the maps. All right, first thing I'm going to show is Kumba. You guys that are following us on Twitter, we sent this one out yesterday. I'll actually jump into a 30-day, so you can see here. What we were looking at is this little head and shoulder pattern that has kind of formed over the past month, and you can see there we've really, it's very, very perfect setup. It's interesting. So if we were to back this out a little bit, you can see how far down that this head and shoulder pattern has to go to completion. So I would say at least the near-term target would be as low as 465, potentially even lower. I mean, going from the top to the bottom of this pattern is really about $40, and breaking it at 498, that lines up nicely there with kind of close to the bottom of this pattern. So watch Kumba today. If we can hold below 498, I really think this is one that you can jump on. If we're trading around that level, I think it's probably a good entry to get short. All right. Woolworths, I know we showed this on the last few sessions. What I didn't show yesterday, what was important, is 2-year trend line support, which we came down and almost touched yesterday. It would really come in at a touch below $70. I think closer to around 69.80. Maybe you could call it right at 70. But there's major trendline support there. I mean, that's longer term that is coming into play at those levels. Plus, obviously, like we talked about, we've got some of this lateral support, which we have managed to close above 2 consecutive days. So big little risk-reward opportunity here in Woolies. I think it's definitely worth a look. All right, next one I want to show is ABSA, which we've talked about a little bit. You can see this little pattern over the past few sessions. It drops it drops below, and also really horizontal resistance or horizontal lows on a closing basis. You can see there that we took that out, closed below 145, which is really where the lows were before on a closing basis. New lows going all the way back to last year, and I really think that we could trade to the bottom of this little pattern here, which is about 135. I wouldn't be surprised to see this, but what we're really going to be looking for is a breakdown from this level to this level, which is 155 to 145. So it would be further $10 a downside. Lines us up perfectly with the bottom of this little pattern, which would be a completion of this head and shoulders that Thompson said was never going to happen, and he made some wagers with people about. African Rainbow. We had this little wedge pattern. I mean, this thing's been in a downtrend. We talked about it the other day. Came down and tested. Came down and tested, and actually kind of temporarily broke above support of resistance here for this downtrend, but didn't really last. You can see we kind of in this upward sloping wedge here, and we had put a big reversal bar yesterday. These can really be great opportunities to kind of short on the back. This also is coming out of a head and shoulder pattern, very similar to kind of what we were just talking about in ABSA. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing complete all the way down to 145 Rand. So this thing really could have a lot of room left to the downside, and ARIs. Watch that one closely in the next few sessions. All right, Aspen. We talked about this a couple days ago. This might be one of the flavors to try to jump on a support play. I wasn't really paying attention to it yesterday. Someone pointed it out, and it had just dropped below this level, so I was kind of stopped paying attention to it. Next thing you know, it's regained and held it and made a nice close above. Right here, 198 is really where we're going to be looking for support. I would, if you make that play today around that level, I would maybe put the stop below here, right where we really kind of made our breakout from this little pattern from at 195. And I think it's a decent little risk reward. Obviously, you got hurt yesterday. It was the earnings. Sorry, as a cautionary because they're looking at acquiring somebody. Sorry, I'm mixed up there. And so they were under pressure a lot yesterday. 198 might be a decent little level. Have a nibble. All right. RMI, we talked about this one a few sessions back also. We came down and tested support that we were talking about yesterday. Really close right at it, right around $24. This is a nice little chart. And also lateral support, maybe you can look as low as about 23.83. So somewhere in here between 24 and 23.80 is really where our little risk range is going to be here in RMI. Like I said, again, good little risk reward. This is kind of probably a 50% pullback from the breakout that we had this move back from April. I like these kind of plays. This is probably a nice little nibble. Have a look at that one if you like making a support play. And last one I'm going to show is Impalas. I just want to show this one real quickly. Again, we talked about it a few days ago. It had really broken out broke above 101 on major volume the other day. I think we did, if I'm not mistaken, 12 million shares in one day. Right here at about 101, I think somewhere like that. We really closed right at it as of yesterday, right on the number here around 101. And I think this is major. You can potentially draw this level right at $100. It's somewhere in there. This is obviously the stock's been a downtrend, and it's fighting the trend to to try to buy this thing on support. I thought with a weak rand and platinum starting to catch some support that this thing might go, plus the end of wage negotiations. Watch this one closely. If this thing breaks below 100, I think you can short it. If we hold 101 today for a little while, I wouldn't be surprised to see us bounce all the way back up to these sort of levels around 115 and before we go lower. And that's it for today, guys. Thanks a lot.